What's up, folks? So it's Sunday. Happy Sunday. This is Living Life in Joy with Rev Melissa, except it's with Sekou because I am guest hosting. I'm going to put the sign back up. There we go. There's all the information. Living Life in Joy with Rev Melissa. Guest host today is me, Sekou Writes. So, as most of you know, Rev Mel is on location. I want to give you bonus points if you can tell me where she's on location. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate it. So if you can tell me where she's on location. I didn't clear it with Rev Mel, but we'll give you a prize. We'll give you a prize if you can tell me where she's on location. All right. So hey, Erica, how you doing? So I am going to follow the format of the show as if I'm a guest. And that'll be relatively easy for me because if you remember, I was the very first guest on this show on Living Life in Joy. And then I'm going to explain some behind the scenes stuff and we'll just take it as it comes. All right, so what she would do next is do her go set ready and then do the second intro, which is the beat that I created at the National Museum of African American Music, which is here in Nashville. Now, I should be clear, they give you a lot of help. They have these beat machines set up and they give you options for which of the sounds you want to pick. So it's not like I was, in the studio like D Nice creating a beat. Like I went to a museum and I created the beat. Still, I'm very happy with it. So this is me using my beat on my intro. So I'll see you in a second. Let's go, set, ready. Shout out to Hero Hoodies. That's all the Hero Hoodie swag you just saw there. And as I am representing the Hero Hoodie swag, let me tell you something. The reason that I have the headphones on usually is so that you can't hear the ambient noise around me. Right now, what that means is you can't hear the fan that's set to 50 trillion right now because it's hot in this hoodie, but I got to be on brand. I got to be on brand. So there we go. That's one behind the scenes tip I'm going to give you. So, okay, so I'm the guest. And if I was the guest, she would ask me a couple of questions. First thing she would do is ask me to tell me about myself or to read my bio. So I'm going to read you the bio that's on Amazon.com. So if you go to Amazon.com and you find one of my books, my name is hyperlinked and you click it, this bio comes up. So I'm just going to read it. All right. So Sekou Writes has had way more than his fair share of lives as a professional creative. He has authored 3 books, 2 fiction, 1 non, been featured in a wide variety of anthologies, written a few regular columns, and even co-written and co-starred in an off-Broadway play. Probably what he's most known for is test driving exotic cars and writing about them. Yes, really. He has a couple of fancy-sounding degrees, like a BA from Morehouse and an MFA in creative writing fiction. He also makes jewelry, bracelets mostly, which isn't as random as it sounds. Speaking of which, visit him online at SekouWrites.com. Now, isn't that a great bio? I can say that because I didn't write it. Somebody told me to go to Amazon and read my bio, and I was like, wow, that's an amazing bio. So shout out to Amazon. I don't know how you did that, but I appreciate it. Thanks for doing all the research about me. And that's a little bit about, who I am and what I do. And next, she would ask me to talk about how interconnecting all those various pieces of me. Erica's asking if there's other colors in the hoodie. No, the hoodie, the only color in the Hero hoodie is black. And that's on purpose. If you're talking about something else, let me know. Anyway, she would ask me how I'm incorporating all these things. And I talked about that on her show. So I'm going to add that to the stream. For those of you that don't know, I have created a TikTok channel. Yeah, this is TikTok over here on the right. I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller so you can see it. This is TikTok. And I've been taking little 1-minute segments of what I talk about when I do these little pop-ins on SIP and putting them over here on TikTok. And they seem to be doing really well. And I'm going to play my response to the question about how I'm integrating things. So check this out. And make sure you guys can hear it. Okay, here we go. For most of my adult life, I've considered myself a jack of all trades, master of none. And I have been really annoyed with myself about starting something and then starting something else and then starting something else on top of that and something else. So I have been mostly frustrated with myself about doing so many different things. And it's only recently when I finally begun to accept the different things that I do. And because of that acceptance, I feel like they are intertwining themselves and becoming a big thing that I can't quite see yet. But I have faith that they are all coming together into a big thing that is just beyond my vision. So that sense of faith is new. The pivot is the perspective. Like I am open to where this is leading me. For most. There we go. So everybody sounds epic when you add a soundtrack, right? That sounds super amazing. So speaking of my TikTok channel, I want to clarify something. I've been getting some shout outs for being in the New York Times. So let me just clarify what I meant when I posted this video. I think this was last night. So here we go. This is about the invisible gem. I am so grateful to be validated by the New York Times. I'm so grateful to be validated because to me, I just make stuff up. I just make stuff up. Some of you know that I do DoorDash deliveries. At each delivery, I will do something, some exercise. So that might be jump rope. That might be doing crunches in the car, putting the seat all the way back and doing crunches. Or it might be doing, standing push-ups against the wall. But this is something that I do, and I call it the invisible gym because you do it and then you forget about it. Like if you just do 10, 15 reps in process of doing something else. So in my case, in process of going to pick up food, by the time I got the food, I forgot about the 10 reps that I just did in the car when I parked. Now just because it doesn't take up much time. But then when I end the day, I feel like a little tension, a little soreness. I recognize, my body recognizes I have done something. I am so grateful. Okay, so just to clarify what I meant when I said I'm grateful to be validated by the New York Times, what I meant was that their Fresh Start Challenge mirrors some of my own beliefs. I did not mean that I was in the New York Times or the New York Times was talking about the invisible gym, because some folks thought that. So that's not the case. I have been in the New York Times. Well, my film has been in the New York Times. That was about 5 years ago now. Actually, I can put that up. This is my short film. There we go. Test Driving While Black. It's been making the rounds recently. And yeah, it was mentioned in the New York Times about 5 years ago. So I'm excited about that. But what we will do is claim that I will be in the New York Times again. For those of you that thought that was in the New York Times just now. Okay, so there's that. And let me move down the list. That's how I'm integrating all the parts of myself into one thing. It takes faith and it takes consistency, because my habit has not been to have faith that all the things that I do are coming together. So it is a daily exercise. It is a lot of practice. Hence the name of the show, Spirit in Practice. It takes a lot of practice to get your spirit in alignment with what's going on around you. And so that's been a serious practice for me. So that said, let's talk about the won't he do it. The won't he do it. So I'm actually going to do her little intro for this. Let me do her little sizzle intro for the won't he do it. So won't he do it? So what had happened was I was telling her this story offline. I told you guys a little bit of it, but I was telling her the story offline. And she said that there was a lesson to be learned in the story. So I'm going to tell the whole story, the parts that I told her that I didn't tell you guys, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. So it starts with me working with Fisk. Some of you know that I've been working with Fisk a bit. And recently I was working on their series of plays called Facing Our Truth. It's a series of 6 10-minute plays about the killing of Trayvon Martin. So my role varied, but one of the main things I had to do was film the performances of the various plays and then edit the footage and splice it together as a single show. It was like, an hour and a half or so, like a film, kind of like what they did with Hamilton, but not with the same budget. Like Hamilton's budget was extremely big. They did it very well, but to approximate that so that people could watch the show online. All right, so that's the backdrop. So I was working very diligently, first shooting all the performances and then editing all the footage together. And then I knew it was going to take a long time to upload it to the platform to play, because I've done some work with large files before. So I figured, early in the morning on the day of was good enough. So the show time was 7 p.m. I started uploading at 6 a.m. I figured that was plenty of time. All right, so after SIP, I went and checked the upload progress, and it had gotten up to like 50%. I was like, all right, so we're good. It'll make it. It'll be kind of close, but we'll make it. Then I went to go do something. I came back, and it was at 0. At 0. And I was like, what happened? So I'm trying not to panic, right? And I don't want to panic the professor. So I hit her up, and I was like, listen, can you put me in touch with someone at the platform? Because I need to talk to them about the upload. So she does, but the people or the person that I spoke to at the platform, they didn't really have much advice. And so now I'm starting to get a little worried, because I want to make sure that I have done everything that I needed to do for FISC, for the students. I mean, the students were telling their parents to tune in. Like it was a big deal. So I just wanted to make sure it was done. So me talking to the person on the phone didn't work. So I decide I'm going to go to FISC and we'll work it out together. So I go over to FISC, and my thought was, whatever computer I use at FISC will be faster than my laptop that I'm on right now at home. Because when I was trying to upload the file from my laptop at home on Wi-Fi, it was telling me 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours to upload. And I was like, oh, that won't work. And I'm asking questions like, can we postpone it? Can we move the date? Like, I'm asking all the wrong questions. So I go to FISC. The professor takes me to the computer lab, room full of computers, and they're all connected to the Ethernet cable. And I was like, all right, so this will be great. Except all the computers are PCs, and mine is a Mac, so they wouldn't even read the file. So now we both start spinning out a little bit, because time is getting short, and we're trying to figure out how we can get this thing uploaded before showtime. And so we start, you know how it is when you start panicking and you start thinking of crazy solutions? We started doing that. And we're throwing out all these crazy random solutions and kind of just moving left, right. And then the professor asked me, what should we do? And it was a little more dramatic than that. She's a drama professor, so the way she speaks is dramatic. And so she was like, what do you think we should do? And when she asked me it in that way, I took a pause. And I closed my eyes in real time. And I took a breath, even while I was talking to her. And I could hear that it got quiet, that she stopped moving when I stopped moving. And what I said next was, the simplest solution is to find a Macintosh computer connected to an Ethernet cable, right? That's the simplest solution. And if I hadn't taken that breath, I wouldn't have gotten to that. But I took a breath, we got to that, and she made some calls. So the person who called us back first was a friend of mine who now works at FISC. He's the deacon at FISC. And he said that he could help, right? So we go to meet the deacon. But a couple things. Number one, my friend's rhythm, his tempo, is very easy, laid back, super chill, right? And we are kind of feeling frantic at this point. We're like, we gotta go, we gotta move. And he's just kind of I can see him walking across campus from a distance. He's just kind of walking across campus, and we were like, "Woo!" Let me not speak for her. In my mind, I'm kind of freaking out. On surface, I look fine, but internally, I'm freaking out a little bit. So he gets to us, and then he says, "We're not going to go to the office. We're going to go to the chapel." I'm like, "All right." I'm not sure why that makes sense, but we do. We go into the chapel. And I see the computer desk. I see a computer desk, because I haven't been in the chapel in a long time. But I see a computer desk, but it's empty. So I'm thinking, well, where's the computer? He says, "I'm gonna go get the computer." So I say, "Do you need help? Because I'm trying to move this along, right? I'm trying to move this along." He's like, "No, I got it." So he goes loping off, chilling. Then he comes back. He opens his door with a box, a computer box. I was like, "What? We gotta put the computer together? Like we on the clock. We gotta put it together." So my stress levels are very high at this point, and I'm paying attention to all the worst things, right? All the negative things about this situation. We got to put this computer box together. So he unboxes the computer and he started to put it together. And I'm talking about unwrapping wires, removing cellophane. It was crazy. And I'm looking at my watch like, wait, we gotta go. So I'm asking him now, "You need some help putting it together?" He's like, no, I got it. I'm like, "You sure? You sure I can't help you a little bit?" And we haven't seen each other in a while. So he's chit-chatting. He's talking about the good old days at Morehouse. And I'm like, "Whoo, yep, I remember that. But could you want to unravel that wire?" "Yep, right there, right." Right? So it was a stressful time. And I remember this one time specifically, he had the power cable in his hand. Power cable, we're almost done. And he starts talking to the professor about something with the power cable just hovering right here. And I'm like, "Oh, could you just put that, just plug that right? You sure you don't need no help?" Okay. Right? So anyway, what I want to do right now is pause to say, I am paying attention to. You should put in the chat what I'm paying attention to. Put in the chat what I'm paying attention to, because I'm paying attention to all the wrong things. I'm paying attention to the time it's taking to put the computer together, right? I'm paying attention to his tempo. I'm paying attention to the fact that he's reminiscing. I'm paying attention to all that stuff. But look at what I'm not paying attention to, though. Look at all the other things that are coming together, because in calamity, there's also calm, right? In calamity, there's also calm. So let me continue the story. So back to the story. He's putting it together. It's finally assembled. The power cable is plugged in, and I slide in there. I was like, let me ease in here, bro, because I couldn't let him continue to do the things because he was moving too slow. So like, let me ease in here, get this program set up. Let me upload this. All right, find the file, click, shoot, bing. I was like, is it broken? And he was like, "I think it's done, Sekou." I mean, seconds. I'm talking about seconds. Shoot, bing, green check mark, done. Now, I was hoping for a 3-hour upload time. I was not expecting a 6-second upload time. It was just done. And so back to the things that I was not paying attention to, right? We know the things that I was paying attention to, all the negative things, but things that I wasn't paying attention to. I wasn't paying attention to the fact that this is a man of God, that the person that we happen to get in touch with is a man of God. And we happen to be in the chapel, a place of God. Wasn't paying attention to that either. I wasn't paying attention to the fact that my prayers were being answered in real time because I was too busy focusing on all the negative things that were happening right then, right? Because when we got it set up, it was solved in an instant. And that just blew my mind, because it reminds me that what I said before, there's calm in every calamity. They're there together. But if you choose to focus on the calamity, then you're missing out on the calm, right? I could have been calm that the deacon was the one who answered the call. I could have been assured that things were going to work out because the deacon took us to the chapel. I could have let all that calm my spirit, but I didn't. I was too focused on the problem. So the lesson for me, and I hope for you too, is that you have to be mindful of where you focus your energy. And it's so easy. It's so easy to get caught up looking at the wrong thing. It happens so fast, right? But you've got to remember to focus on the best of the situation in real time. Because if I had been able to do that, I'm sure that I wouldn't have panicked, and I'm sure we could have gotten it resolved much faster. And let me backtrack a little more. In order to solve your situation, whatever your situation is, in my case, it was trying to get this file uploaded before showtime, right? But it's a small problem. But that problem got solved in seconds when I got connected to the source, meaning I was connected to an Ethernet cable on the right type of computer. But it's a great metaphor, right, for being connected to the source, capital S source, right? So in order to be connected to the source, at the source, not on Wi-Fi, not on one bar of Wi-Fi, but connected to an Ethernet cable, you have to be in tune with yourself. And I can say that specifically because that whole week of working on that play, I didn't do any of my things. I didn't do my morning practice. I didn't go jogging. I didn't work out. And I did those things. I did not do those things on purpose because I thought I don't have enough time. I have to stay focused on this task. I got to get this done. So first thing in the morning, I was jumping on the fist thing. Last thing at night, I was jumping on the fist thing. And I didn't do those things that keep me grounded, that keep me centered. And so when something happened, I freaked right out. And so if I had been able to stay on my program, and it's not any big deal, just doing the things that I know to do my morning practice, pray, meditate, juice, exercise, smile, just do those things that I know to do, then when that calamity happened, I would have been able to find the calm more quickly. And I'm sure we would have gotten the file uploaded way ahead of time. And then also, final note about this, it took me a while to get out of the calamity, even after the file got uploaded. Here I go chatting with the people on the platform, like, is the file available? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, are you sure? Come on. I'm embarrassed to tell you guys that, but hopefully it will resonate with someone out there. Like, it's easy to get caught up thinking about those negative things. It's easy to get distracted from the calm by the calamity. And so I told Rev Mel all that, and she said that I should tell you guys because you might get something out of it. So when something happens and it pulls you off your center, remember to focus on the calm. But before that, every day you got to make sure that you are connected to the things that ground you, and that will keep you connected to your source. All right, so now that I've told that whole story, I see there's some comments popping in here. I'm gonna throw some up. Yeah, see, see. Yeah, it was funny. It's funny now. It was not funny then. It's not. Yes, man, it was driving me crazy. All the slow plugging. Oh. But look how fast it got resolved when it got resolved. Seconds. It went from 7 hours to 60 seconds like that. So, and when you are connected to your source, that's the magic. That's the magic. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yep. God knew what you needed and he was it. Yeah. And I was so busy focused on everything else that I couldn't see the blessing. I'm literally sitting in a chapel on a pew, on a church pew, stained glass windows all around me, peace and grace and serenity all around me. And I'm staring at these plugs. Like, come on, man, just plug that one in, just plug that one in. So anyway, remember to stay focused, stay centered, stay connected to the things that ground and center you. Because it doesn't have to be super complicated. But if exercise grounds you, and exercise should ground everyone, make sure you do that because that'll help you stay grounded when something happens. Because you know something is going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when something happens. So you make sure that you're grounded. Okay, so that's my story about the file upload situation. If it's the file upload debacle that I will remember for the rest of my life, and next time I have something, some calamity happen, I will remember to focus on my calm. And in the meantime, I will not sacrifice the things that I do for me for someone else. You got to make sure that you're good first before you help someone else out. Okay, so next up would be the joy questions. Yeah, so what does joy look like? Right now, joy looks like a conversation, being in conversation with the divine, being in conversation with the universe. Because even in that example, I felt like that was a conversation. Because early in the story, if you heard that part, I took a pause. I took a breath, I closed my eyes, I took a pause, and I had clarity about what the solution was, even though I didn't have clarity about how the solution would manifest. But then magically, moments later, you know, here's my old classmate answering the call and taking us to the chapel to help us. And obviously I was too distracted by my own angst to notice that the universe was answering back, but the universe answered back immediately. Immediately. It took me a while to notice it. Days after it happened, even, it took me a while to put it all together. But I am grateful and joyful about being in conversation with the universe. And I'm sure you're in conversation with the universe too. Just watch out for the signs because they're all around you. Ask a question and then watch for the signs. Okay, so next question. What am I living life in? I'm still living life in abundance. For those of you that have been watching SIP and Rev for a while, you know that my word is abundance. My phrase is I am habituated abundance because I want to make abundance a habit. Because how long does it take you to undo the thinking of a lifetime? It takes a lot. And so I am focused on habituating my abundance, habituating the idea of abundance, and removing my ideas of lack and limitation. And look, let's circle back, because I was focused on a lack and limitation in that experience. I was focused on all the things that could go wrong. I was asking even the people who run the platform, I was asking them the wrong questions. Like, can we postpone? Can we change the opening date? Like, what happens when people go there if the file is not uploaded? I'm asking all the wrong questions instead of being focused on what my clear objective was, what my clear intention was, what I wanted to happen, which was to upload the file on time, with plenty of time and no worries, which ultimately happened in seconds. I still can't get over that. Can't get over that. Anyway, that's what I'm living life in, abundance. And joy song. So I've talked before about Eric Thomas. He calls himself E.T., the hip hop preacher. And I like his songs. They're not songs, but I like his songs because he has a hip hop beat and then there are his motivational speeches over the hip hop beat. So you can get something, you can get fed and still, in my case, still work out. So I can jog to Eric Thomas because, you know, I'm keeping the rhythm, but I'm also getting fed. So I'm going to play his song, I Made My Mark, as the outro to this episode. And you can check it out. I'll play it in its entirety and hopefully you'll enjoy it and get something out of it. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, Joy News. So Joy News, real quick. For those of you that missed the intro, I do a lot of things. And that intro from Amazon.com was only some of the things that I do. So I'll throw a couple other things up there. These are two of my podcasts. There's the Sekou Writes podcast, where I talk about test driving cars and all the amazing, interesting things that have happened to me while I test drive cars. And I usually record that podcast inside of a car. So it's kind of like a podcast within a podcast. And my second podcast is Get Rich 101, in which I'm reading a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. It was written in 1910, but the knowledge is still very relevant. That one is being listened to, last time I checked, in 25 different countries. It's really blowing up. People are really interested in the science of getting rich. And it really is all about changing your thinking. And my story, my SIP, really exhibits how easy it is to get trapped thinking about lack and limitation. So when you can focus on wealth as opposed to lack, that's how your finances change in real life. So I think that might be it. I think that might be it. I didn't get a chance to use this, so I'm just going to do this real quick. I created this because when you're watching Rev Mel and I'm doing the behind the scenes production, you don't really notice the delay because she's talking. But when it's just me, like I have to do all the things. And so I created this in case I needed a little extra space. And I didn't even get a chance to use it. So I'm just going to play a little snippet. This is my elevator music theme song. Yeah, that's just in case I needed to distract you while I did something in the background. But I think I'm good. I think I did all the joy questions. I talked about my sip. I'm going to check out your comments in real time as soon as I end the episode. I couldn't do it all at the same time. But I hope you got something out of it. I definitely did. And I am back on my regular rhythm of doing my morning practice and staying grounded and exercising and doing the things that I know that I need to do to stay calm in the midst of calamity. So, all right, keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero, and remember that now is better than perfect. All right, deuces.